Okay, we've got our wood for our project. 1x6 8-foot poplar. You want to pick some nice straight pieces, especially along the length. You don't want any dog legs. These have a few small knots, definitely workable. Poplar's usually pretty good about having little to no knots in it. That's going to be for our tabletop as well as the rails along the side. 1x4 6-foot, 2 of those. Southern Yellow Pine number 2. It's going to be for the tray framing. And then 1/4 inch, 2-foot by 4-foot plywood. Nothing special. This happens to be oak, just because it was the cheapest one there. Just going to serve a purpose. It's not going to be seen. So you probably use MDF or anything that you might have laying around, even thicker material if you've got it lying around. I just needed a bigger sheet than what I had here, so okay, that's all of our wood. Okay, after test fitting the glass, as you saw in the pictures, I measured it right to the point where the glass fit exactly inside all the pieces put together for the top. So after that miscalculation, went back and I trimmed 1 inch off of both the short pieces and the long pieces, giving me a 1/2 inch on each end and each side for a notch for the glass to sit in. I always recommend dry fitting. It doesn't hurt. It's the same principle as measuring twice, cut once. So now the next step for me, one I'm particularly nervous about, is cutting out the notches. Now I don't have a router. You could use a router, and like I said before, I'm not very experienced, at least in furniture making. So with this being my first table, kind of nervous about it. Don't want to ruin some good wood. So gonna do a 1/2 inch notch all the way down on all these pieces for the glass to sit in, and we'll see how it turns out. Fingers crossed. Okay, so pretty much ready to go now. Show you something real quick. Basically what I've done is I have marked how deep, or I should say how wide I want my notch to be and how deep I want it to go. Measuring the glass, I got it cut at a 1/4 inch. Actually comes out to be 7/32 of an inch. And trying to get the glass as flush as possible with the top of the wood. I'm not working with micrometers or calipers or anything like that. Just tape measure and a drafting ruler, or engineer scale I should say. But I still want to try and get it as flush and squared as possible. So you see I've marked the waist sections with X's. So basically what I've done, you see here I marked it on the end grain. Try and get it as level as possible, or even as possible, with the deepest part of my cut. And then I've also gone in and checked the height of the blade. I'm under the line, but the goal is to try and creep up on it, increasing the blade depth a hair at a time, and then test fitting. It's time consuming, but you should only have to do it for the first piece, and then after that, you can use that setting for all the rest of your pieces. So this measurement here should be equal for all 4 sides. So again, fingers crossed. Hopefully it works. Okay, so first 2 cuts I should say, successful. So basically again what I did is I ran it through this way first, and then, and since I don't have a dado blade, I turned it on edge and ran it this way. The first test fit, I am just a hair off. The glass sits just a hair above the edge of the wood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the fence just a hair closer and give it another pass on this, and hopefully it'll get a good fit. Okay, success. Gone a little bit deeper on this side. Just try and match up with the glass. You see the slightest little line there. You can't even feel it, but you can see it between the runs and the blades. And you can feel, whereas before it was a slight little bump on the glass over the wood, now it's reversed and there's a little bit of a hair of a, you can just barely feel the corner of the wood over top of the glass, which I'm okay with. I'd rather have the glass inset, than being raised higher than the wood. So we'll go with that, leave the blade where it's at, and run our other width piece, another side piece, and our 2 long pieces. Okay, so I've got all of my pieces now grooved out, and for reasons unbeknownst to me, I've got one piece that decided to go just a little bit deeper. And as you can see, I've got just the smallest little sliver there of wood. Most cases, if I had a properly equipped shop, I'd have a hand plane. I don't, of course. So I'm just using a hand chisel. It's real basic. It's sharp. And all I'm doing, trying to do this one-handed, is going down and just ripping that piece of sliver off. And then going back through and cleaning it up. So nothing too fancy. This is going to be the part that's covered up with glass. So really not going to be noticeable. I just want to eliminate any possible wobble in there. Okay, so our top is assembled. I've got some sanding to do at the seams. All in all, I'm pretty happy with it. The downside of the Craig jig, which I didn't anticipate, was because it is coming out of the pocket, or the pocket screws are coming in at an angle, it does want to pull when you get it set up flush. So it does want to pull it to one side. So Nothing major, just a little bit of minor sanding to do there, which is going to do anyway. So next step now is to set up for our tray. The tray is going to sit in, again, this is the underside of the top. So the tray will sit in using 1x4s. There's a crude little drawing right there. That's what our casings are going to sit in. And I left a 1.5 inch overlap. The plan is to use a battery operated rope lights to go along the inside and light up the casings themselves. We decided to turn it on. So right now I'm just laying that out, and we'll see how that turns out. Okay, so I've gotten the tray frame built. 1.5 inch overhang along the underside of the lip. This is the bottom side of the table. Now what I'm going to do is, one, figure out a way of attaching it. The Craig jig does not, the instructions do not tell you how to do a T-joint, so I'm going to look that up because I do not want to drill through my tabletop, obviously. And then after that, I'm going to figure out my fascial boards and where my legs are going. Here we've got a 24-inch additional table leg from Home Depot, about $10 a piece. It's got an interesting bevel cut on the sides. It was a bit tall. We'll be adding wheels to the bottom. These caster wheels, I believe these were from Lowe's. Those are Home Depot. So we wanted to take a little bit of height off the leg. So just looking at this, just cut the bottom of it off. It's got a nice little foot detail here, and the leg will fit, the caster will fit pretty nice right there. So the mounting hardware, I might put a insert in the table where this screws in. The way I'm doing the pocket holes, I might just grind this off and screw into it and then screw this into the tabletop. So we'll see. Okay, minor setback. After temporarily attaching the legs, took it to the living room to see how it looked. Way too tall. These were 21-inch legs. I thought it would look all right, and that was not the case. It was just way too tall, more of a telephone table kind of deal. So to rectify that problem, we cut it down. I cut it down. Really like the look of the claw type foot down here at the bottom, which was also cut off. It had another ball on the end of that, and I cut that off because I plan on using caster wheels on the bottom. So what I did is went to the bottom of that little turned detail right there and just cut the top off. Now the significance of that. This changes a lot. So with that gone, my 1x6 fascia board fit perfectly right here. That's not 6 inches. That's not even 4 inches. From the top to about where the flat surface stops and begins to bevel under, it's about 2.5 inches. So now I have to rip down my fascia boards along with the tray frame to match this. If I left the tray frame where it was at, I have about 1 inch showing over top of the fascia board, and that kind of eliminates the whole purpose. So a lot of work to redo, but I think it ended up looking better as far as the shorter fascia board. 6 inches on a table like this it's a bit much. And the table is 2 feet by 4 feet long. So 6 inches is quite a bit. So we'll get these attached back up and line our fascia boards back up and get those measured and cut and everything else. And on to the next step. Alright, so as I mentioned, I had to rip down the fascia boards as well as the tray frame because of the legs being too long. So cut the legs down, took off quite a bit. It was about 7 or 8 inches off of that. So I cut these down to about 2.5 inches. And you can see got maybe about an inch or just shy of an inch less on the tray frame. Plan on using 1/4 inch plywood. This happens to be oak. They sit on top of that. So right now I've got them tacked back in place with the corner brackets using 1/2 inch screws. I'll go in and add a few more and then get the dimensions for my plywood so it's nice and straight. I've still got to come in and do my pocket screws for the sides. Right now it's just sitting in there, nice and snug. Got fortunate there. It's on all the sides. So I'm gonna do still enough room for 2 pocket screws from the fascia board on the inside to the legs. Even right now, they're pretty sturdy. It'll get even better once I get everything screwed into place. Okay, so we got our tray frame done. As you saw in the pictures, all of the fascia boards are mounted. Pocket screws into here, which really stiffened up the legs. The tray is installed and the tray bottom is installed. I haven't painted anything yet, haven't even started the sanding process yet. Just wanted to do a mock-up, get it all assembled, ready to go, and then see how it looks in the living room. And then I'll come back and disassemble it. We'll get it sanded, painted, and final assembly. Alright, well here it is, finished product with a coat of Minwax finishing wax. These are just a nice little, sheen. It took a little bit getting used to get the wax. I probably need to give it another coat. Biggest thing I learned is you need to put it on real thin and really rub it into the wood. You don't want a real thick layer. I'm very happy with it. I think, excluding the 30 mil shells, I've got, I think, about 2,000 shells in there. 9mm, a couple of 45s. I think there's 1,000 caliber or 1,000 count of 40 cal. There's some 223s in there. A couple of antique 308. You can see a couple of silver shells there, a couple of antique ones. Just a wide variety, but it took quite a few to fill it up. The 500, you'll see pictures from earlier. The 500 count of shells just did not do it. I have on the underside, I can't really see it because of the lighting, but on the box for the battery operated light switch for the rope lights is mounted underneath. It's real low profile, you can't see it. And it does turn the light off, and it does a nice job, some mood lighting. So need to mount up a little higher so you can't see them, but all in all, I'm very happy with it. It turned out really well. The light was I think it was like $8 on Amazon. Comes 3 settings, on, off, and then an 8-hour delay. Goes off after 8 hours. The glass was local. A little glass cutter. I think it cost $35, $40. Just simple straight cut glass. Just under a 1/4 inch. No bevel cut. I wanted to do the bevel cut along the edges where it has a nice little bevel here and on the sides. That was going to be an additional $40. So try and keep the costs low, at least lower than what they were already. Just went with just straight glass, and that was the biggest pain in the butt, because right here, I didn't know this until after I already got it, and it was the weekend. They had a little dog leg, just the slightest little dog leg, where they went to pull it off the saw or something, and it had a little bit of a crook in both sides of the glass. So I had to go back in with my my chisels and rework this in, and there's the slightest little gap, the slightest little lip. It's barely there, which was really what I was hoping for. So biggest thing, like I told you earlier, I was using the pocket screws. Went together really well. The biggest thing is that you want to make sure you hold everything down nice and flat, because it will want to offset the receiving board. So when I went from screw from this board into this board, and when it was upside down, of course, and it wanted to raise this board higher than this one when I was screwing it in, because the screws were coming in at an angle, so I wanted to lift it up. So just watch out for that if you use pocket screws. Otherwise, it's really stable. And it turned out really well on the little caster wheels. So all in all, very happy with it again. And that'll wrap it up for this project. Thanks for watching. Feel free to post your comments, questions, and we'll see you on the next one.